Previously on
I
Calf
remember this
Kick
quote,
Sports.
from Uriah Hall. He goes, he actually learned some of the moves, from Tekken. Do you ever get inspiration? Yeah, like genuinely, he actually says, like, I used to play Tekken and I got some inspiration and, to do certain moves with playing Tekken. Do you ever get any moves inspired by Tekken, essentially?
Yeah, actually, I get moves inspired by Tekken all the time, man, because, like, Tekken's kind of like a cool thing where, like, they base the game off of real fighting styles, you know what I mean? Like real martial arts. So they have wrestling, they have boxing, they have XYZ, you know what I mean? So it's like really cool to just like be able to like play with those guys and say, hey, oh, like he responded this way. I could do that in real life, you know? It definitely works though, dude. Like UFC 4 too, it works that way.
Yeah.
I didn't know that Uriah Hall was a Tekken player though, man.
Yeah, you're gonna have to challenge him, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna challenge that guy. He's an 85 or 2, man. I'm gonna challenge that guy. As a matter of fact, he was probably here like 6-8 months ago or something like that, like training with John Jones. I wish I knew, bro. I would have challenged him right then and there, man, for all the marbles. If you're watching this Uriah Hall, you're next. First to 7, bro.
We're cutting this out, yeah. We're gonna tag him in this.
First to 7, bro.
And if you need to call out Uriah Hall, you should be on a better show. I don't think you're like, if he's watching, he's not.
3 weeks later.
We're gonna skip the intro. If you're watching the show, you know who Uriah Hall is, and you were at WrestleMania last night. Tell us everything. What happened? How'd the show go?
Oh man! So first of all, like a month ago, maybe I was taking a run, just light jog in the morning, and I looked up. There's a billboard, and I see Ronda. She's facing some girl, and I was like, "What the hell?" I've never been to WrestleMania, and I was like, "WrestleMania's here." So I text her. I was like, "Hey, you coming into town to compete or something?" She's like, "Yeah, dude, I'll be there." Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, "Oh man, it'd be great to see you. Get a couple tickets." She's like, "Sure, no problem." And I had no idea WrestleMania is like the Super Bowl of wrestling. I had no idea. I thought it was just, people throwing away people and wearing tights. Man, we got to this arena and it was the Dallas Cowboy Stadium. It's huge, and there were so many people, and we got floor seats. Which, by the way, if you do go to WrestleMania, floor seats make so much difference. It's like you're there, and me and a couple of my teammates were there, and man, it brought back some childhood because it was like we were cheering, and of course these old grown ass men were walking around with belts. I'm like, this dude's walking with a belt, WWE belt, and I was like, what the hell? Everybody was just in character, and I was like, yo. And the greatest part of that night was when Stone Cold Steve Austin came out. We were waiting just for the music. We had our phones like this. I must have turned away for 1 second, and it came out, and we were just losing it. We were cheering, and he's beating the crap out of this dude. He's like, I'll drink a beer. I'll drink another beer. And when he did the Stone Cold Stunner, we were hugging. He's like, oh my God, he did it. I just can't believe how much fun I had. Even one of my teammates was like, I had no idea it was going to be this way. And he told me before he came, he said his son was like, okay, Dad, you going to WrestleMania? And he's like, bro, I don't think you understand. We grew up on this shit, man. But it was the greatest night ever. I can't believe how much fun I had. It was just so amazing. I was like, man, UFC need to step their game up when it comes to the way it was so entertaining. You just felt like you were a part of it. Yeah,
man, so
story.
It sounds like you were like us, Attitude Era wrestlers. Is that correct? Like we watched the Attitude Era, Stone Cold, some of The Rock, like Mankind, and then kind of jumped out. But yeah, that was kind of your era, the Stone Cold era, yeah?
Oh yeah. Undertaker was there. He got inducted in the Hall of Fame, and it was just, I just didn't realize it was like all my childhood was like, gotcha bitch. All my childhood memories just came back to me, and I just remember me and my friend hugging each other, jumping up like, bro, our childhood hero is right there. And our other friend was like, really? I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. I just can't understand right now. He was like our hero, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I felt like a kid. Anyway,
crazy.
I came home
Did he
late.
do his whole thing with the beers, and just smack the 2 beers around and just
Oh my god, dude! But the best was the 2 greatest moments were the actual him coming out with the song. You know, the glass shatter, and he's just walking up and he sticks his middle finger in the air, and
oh man,
he gets in the ring and he did this. We were just waiting for the Stone Cold Stunner, and of course he did it like 3 times, and we were like, "Oh my god, he did it in front of us." Yeah, I was seriously fanboying last night. Never expected that. Didn't know I had it in me.
So that's an interesting one, yeah, because we're not too far off, and well, we're all in our 30s. So this is an interesting question. Yeah, would you prefer Stone Cold or The Rock? Because we had everyone in our school. Stone Cold, really?
Stone Cold. Yeah, I met The Rock, and nothing wrong with The Rock. I love him. He's a cool guy. He's great. You know, you just when you're there and you meet Stone Cold, he's just a real man. It's just like, I want a beer. You get over there and I'm gonna smack that face. He's just a man. I love it. He's a badass, man. It was just no fucks given. Rode into the aviator and he was just a badass, man. I love it.
Man, this would be I wish we were if we scheduled a post WrestleMania show. Oh, just golden stuff.
Dude, it was awesome. I'm now a fan.
But yeah, we've had like in MMA for a while, like MMA and wrestling, like as much as we as MMA fans, we always pretend like, no, wrestling's a different thing. We're basically cousins with WWE wrestling. We want to be closer to like boxing and kickboxing. That's not true. We're a lot closer to wrestling in terms of the fandom. But yeah, the UFC's never set up like that, leading to the finale moment. The UFC's just like, and then we do another event, and then we do another event. Like, would it benefit from like, and then we do like 5 title fights on one big card, and then we'll chill for a bit, and then we'll kind of set up for next year?
You know what? That was back in the old days. I didn't realize right now, and I think maybe they have certain type of contract with ESPN that have to execute a certain amount of fights for the year.
Yeah.
But you know, that build up, that anticipation, you know, it's like meeting a girl and you're like, all right, in 3 months we're gonna do it. It's that build up, you know, you're building up, you're waiting. There were fights every weekend and I forgot. I remember I'm gonna watch the fights. I'm like, what fights? What are you talking about? There's fights?
You work for the company.
Yeah. I barely even watch it now because there's so many fights going, and I'm like, who's that guy? Who's that? I've never heard of this guy before. So.
God. Do you feel like it's almost a bit too saturated, Uriah? Because I was so happy in 2019 when they're like, yeah, we're going to do a card every weekend, man. And then I look at the card and I'm like, I don't really know a lot of these guys, man. I don't.
I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it from a business standpoint, you know, whether it's promotion and, you know, there's a balance, you know, like the Reebok came in the picture and a lot of athletes lost their sponsors because Reebok doesn't pay anything, but it is what it is. But it's like, all right, one of the things is the amount of fights you have. I think, like if you have like maybe 15 or more, you get like maybe 20,000. So it goes up by those increments, but it sucks. But at the same time, it's like, all right, it's out of my control. What can I do? So I take it like that. But.
There's good and bads to it, and I think because we all kind of partially work for the UFC, we all have to play nice with them. So the Reebok deal and now the Venum deal, just great quality stuff. Love their stuff. Hey,
I love Venum, man. Venum's awesome.
Venum's awesome. Good. Venom's good. They're actually like from the community themselves. They're not an outside thing. But, you know, Venom's great. Send us some stuff, Venom.
Look it up. I was supposed to get something a while ago, so I'm glad you remind me. They're supposed to send me some stuff.
What the fuck, Venum? You didn't send Uriah Hall some stuff? Get the hell up. Man, I don't even want him on the show. They're too low for us now. Hey, so big night last night in WrestleMania. You're recovering this morning. I think we should all take some dietary advice from Kelvin Gastelum. I think you need some chocolate milk for recovery.
Dude, you don't understand. We're at the house. We're arguing for hours. I'm like, bro, I don't think so, man. He's like, yeah, that was my coach said. I'm like, yeah, your coach was like, what, born in the 60s? That motherfucker don't know shit. Like, you know how old white dudes be, you know, well, you know, it says here, if you run and hit your head on this wall, you'll lose your concussion. What? It's just that old school mentality sometimes. You're like, bro. And of course, everybody's like, yeah, my coach said it. My coach said it. I'm like, see, that's a problem. Let's actually do the actual physics to understand it. And my coach broke it down for me. He's like, no, it just tastes good and it makes you feel good. No, it doesn't work.
It's delicious, but I don't think we should take diet.
That's it.
But man, do you think we should all take dietary advice from Kelvin Gastelum? Fuck.
Definitely one of my best friends, if not one of my closest friends. He's gotten a lot better. Because I went out there to train with him in Arizona, And the structural campaign that he has with his team and everything, man. I mean, we both set a goal, and he was just ahead of me, and I was like, "Damn, you beat me, bro!" And I think a few fights, maybe him switching camps, and sometimes that's what it's all about. It's about your surroundings, It's not just having yes men; it's having a team to kind of be like, okay, his striking coach, his nutrition coach, his strength conditioning, and they always like camaraderie around him to kind of boost him up. And he's doing a great job. He's in a good place. He says he's happy. Arizona is cool. It's hot as balls, but it's cool. But yeah, he's doing a good job.
So just going back to, going all the way back to tough days. Yeah. So we mentioned Kelvin's diet. I remember this comment from Josh Sonnen, rest in peace. He was like, yeah, man, Kelvin's never going to be winning this tournament, man. His diet is his diet is absolutely terrible.
Dude, I got stories. Oh my God. This guy's eating chicken nuggets before he cuts it. What are you doing?
What?
He's like, it tastes good. I'm like, no, Kelvin. But he was like the little brother of the team, and you grow. Yeah. And he's grown. So he's grown, man. I hung around him, and just the way he's talking and carrying himself, and especially as an athlete in this sport, a lot of fans just see the outside aspect of it. They just see you go out there and punch someone in the face. They don't see the backdrop of everything. Ironically, they don't care, unless you're like one of these entertaining fighters where you're like, yeah, man, I like pizza. Oh my God, he said he likes pizza, which is the dumbest shit ever. Like, we're so entertained and easily happy over stupid shit. I really think we're kind of dumbing down as a society. I feel it, but it is what it is. It's entertaining. It sells. What I recognize that it's literally all about this. Nobody gives a fuck. It's, hey man, can you put people in the seat? Can you generate some good income? Can you do something that make you stand out? Because people want to see, and when people want to see, they'll pay to see, even if they hate you. And it's kind of hard for a lot of athletes, especially veterans. They're like, wait, I got to sell out? But I'm real. Unless you get like a Nate Diaz, like, man, fuck that shit. I ain't doing that. Pay me, motherfucker,
Yeah.
So it's hard, In some ways, it's like the WWE where everyone has a character. Well, you kind of drawn to, you're drawn to this, you're drawn to a Conor, you're drawn to a Nate, you're drawn to a Masvidal. We all got that.
Do you think it all stemmed, almost from, because I call it almost the post McGregor era. Before that, there was a lot more respect, man. It was like, there's obviously trash talk, but you wouldn't have people just have this persona or build this persona just to monetize. But now, post McGregor, you could see the amount of money he's made. He had a big money fight with Floyd. Do you think that's the way to go, or do you think whatever revert back to the old days?
It's definitely not going to go back to the old days, like not ever, because it doesn't sell. It's like watching karate dudes. You're like, karate? What the hell is that? And that's why I got into MMA. It's so different. You don't know what's going to happen. I was undefeated kickboxing, just demolishing people, but I got bored because as an athlete, I wanted a challenge, and MMA was like, oh, really? Come on over. But, the game is changing, and you either have to adapt with it or it's going to leave you by. Yeah, you can be loyal to the game, but will the game be loyal to you?
Yeah, and that was one of my questions for you, because you were on Chuck Norris's WCL, you're a Kyokushin karate black belt, and I'm actually like covering UFC and MMA, love it because there's so much of it. I think I might like kickboxing more. Was like, how serious were you about kickboxing, and then why the switch to MMA?
Well, I loved it because, first of all, I started off with self-defense, confidence booster because I was bullied. We all know that story. And then I just excelled with it, having the right people around me, like my sensei who saw potential, was like, you know what? You can take this far. And I was like, no, I just want to train. But that was him seeing something as a young youth saying, you know what? This kid can step outside his comfort zone. He's comfortable. And he recognized that. And I think it's important to recognize it in some people. And he did, and he pushed me to that level where I started to compete in the organization. And I did amateur kickboxing, and I just kept running with it. But I was afraid of it. I'm still afraid of it. I mean, I don't have the mindset to go out there and kill someone. You know how hard it is to fucking create a life? Granted, that's my job. However, I do not like to hurt people. Fortunately, I'm good at it, but it is what it is. It pays the bills. But it's how you look at it. I look at it from a competitive standpoint, kind of like Tekken. We'll get into that. But I'm very.
I have to ask you the Tekken question. So obviously, I asked Lydell on the other show, and he's like, I don't know, Uriah. I actually would have challenged him, man.
Dude. I used to play back in the day, like tournaments, but man, these Asian kids would smoke us. We were like, yo, my man, were you born in the game? What the fudge? These Asian kids were just, yo, they beat me. This Asian kid beat me so bad one time. He was like this playing, and he was looking at me like, and I was like, motherfucker. He's good.
Who's your go-to character in Tekken?
Man. So it depends. That's the thing. I can play with like a bunch of people because some of the characters are really fast. Some are just slow and strong. Some are annoying. The problem is a lot of these nerds, who I'm a former nerd, I can say that, they find these really cheesy way to win. They can just, it's like someone poking you like this, you know, and they'll keep you in the air. And I'm like, that's not real. That wouldn't happen. Bro, I've become something that I'm not. I just remember my girlfriend was like, my guy, you be cursing a lot. Like, what's wrong with you? And, you know, she's an actress, so she's in there recording some voiceover stuff. And she be coming out like, yo, my man, I'm picking up all the curses. I'm like, I'm sorry. So I become like this, you fucking bitch. I become like an asshole. You pencil dick motherfucker. I'll beat your ass in front of your parent. Like, I'm saying stuff like, that's not who I am. But, you know, when you're competitive, that's what happens. You know, people don't understand that. Like, when someone fights somebody and they give them that extra punch, I'm like, why would you punch him extra? Why would I not? It's a fucking fight. Like, are you serious? But I love Tekken. Yeah.
Are you more competitive in Tekken than you are in MMA? What are you telling us?
I'm competitive in both, but mostly probably in Tekken. Like, you know, I still got it. You know, I play online. I'm trying to get to Tekken Lord, but man, it's like when you lose a fight, my problem is I don't know when to stop because I'm like, I'm gonna beat you, and I'll get like 12 losses in a row, and I'm like, I just need one. I just need one to let you know you ain't that fucking good. And as soon as I get it, I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, what? And they're like, well, I beat you 10 times. I'm like, yeah, but I got you one. You know, like, I'm competitive like that. I love that side of me because it keeps my edge. You know, and a lot of times, even as an athlete, you know, you get like 2 or 3 losses. Like, and I've been there. You know, I lost a couple of fights in a row, and I'm like, man, maybe this is not for me. You start to doubt yourself. It's a serious thing. And you just go down this rabbit hole. And then what makes it even worse is the fans who just come up like, yeah, bro, you're really not that good. You suck. You should stop. And I saw something the other day. It was so interesting. I forgot. I think it was Pitbull making an analogy where he was like, you know, as babies, right? You see those babies. Yeah, come on, you can do it, buddy. Come on, stand up. Yeah, you got this. But as adults, it's the complete opposite.
Yeah,
you suck, bro. Yeah. You suck. You shouldn't do this. I'm like, it's so stupid. Like I said, we're dumbing down, bro. But
it's like crab mentality, isn't it? You know, when you got crabs in the bucket and the crabs are coming out, you're like, you know what? Fuck you, man. I don't want you to. How dare you, man? Calm down, man. But
I want to challenge that kid, though. I want to.
Yeah, exactly. No, you definitely have to, man. You're gonna set up a middleweight Tekken belt, man. Like,
hey, I'm down.
No, but changing gears a little bit, Uriah. Obviously, you know, you've been very open about anxiety. We ask the anxiety question to literally every guest. How do you deal with anxiety? Is that something that's still a thing for you? And, you know, as you go down and, you know, you progressed into your fighting career, has it got easier? Is it harder? Is it the same?
This is crazy. Literally a couple weeks ago, I found out I have anxiety. I didn't realize I had anxiety. And that's one of the things you don't know when you have it. It's kind of like when you have a problem, like whether it's a drinking problem or an addiction, the first thing is to admit it. And every time when I'm in the octagon, I feel this feeling. Like, I'm like, what the like my breath is going fast. I'm like, I'm in shape. I'm shutting down. The curtains are closing. I'm like, what's happening to me? And I just realized, because this feeling, I compared it to the octagon. I'm like, I know this feeling. I know this feeling. And I have anxiety, but it's like, you know, as men, I ain't got no anxiety. I'm strong. You know, we're supposed to be the strong thing. And it's like a man crying, like, why are you being a bitch? Why are you crying? Like, bro, crying is one of the strongest things you can do. It's called release. But as a society, we don't indicate that. We indicate a man as a provider. You drive a truck and all that shit. Like, what? But when I found that I had anxiety, I attacked it right away. Not even realizing I was doing it, because my natural instinct is to attack. If something is attacking me, I attack. I attack it back. And I attacked it by kind of facing it and acknowledging, like, oh, this is feeling okay. I'm out of breath. All right, breathe, relax, control. No, you ain't gonna get the best of me. I'm controlling that in my mind, but I didn't realize I was doing it until I spoke to someone. And everybody has different methods, and I guess mine was naturally attacking. It's kind of like Ultra Instinct from Goku. We'll get into that, but I just attacked it right away. And looking back on most of my fights, I can say that it played a big part, because I remember going in there, and I know nerves are good, but I just remember feeling that extra nerve where my body is just not responding. And I'm like, what the? And I just didn't understand. I'm like, I'm prepared for this. And I remember being the Ultimate Fighter, Chael used to say, Chael is by far one of the, man, I love that guy to death. You want to talk about real? And he still texts me to this day. Actually texted me this morning,
Oh, no way.
But yeah, man, I love him. But anyway, he said back in the Tough House, he gave a story about a guy brings a 2x4 ladder and lays it down. And he says, all right, to his football team or whatever, like, you guys walk on it. And everybody just walked on like it was nothing. I mean, went up to the school and put it on the roof. He was like, all right, now walk on it. And everybody was like, And his analogy was, environment changes, but the act doesn't. It's the same act, but the environment might change. And he was like, just because you go in front of a crowd, you have Dana, you have all these spectators, these people watching you, the environment is changing, but the act is the same. And he was like, make your mark. And I never forgot that. And sometimes I remember it, sometimes I don't. And sometimes it cost me a fight. I mean, other fights I lose because the ref sucks, but it sucks, man. And it fucks with you mentally, because you're like, man, when those doubt and those negative affirmation comes in your mind, think of like this amazing cake with this cherry on top. The cherry on top is just these internet trolls just be like, yeah, you suck, bro. And you're like, this guy don't even know me. And luckily I have like good people around me. My girlfriend was like, she's so dope. What did she say? She said, lions don't mess with fleas. And I was like, wow. And ever since I said that to myself, I've always just, because they don't really know you, they don't. And it's almost like I'm trying to, no, like me. And I said a couple of years ago, I said to myself, you know what? I have the courage to be this liked. Because if the entire world likes you, you got a problem. I want to be myself, you know what I'm saying? And we're all different. Literally all different. You're different. But somehow we breathe the same fucking air. And for some reason, we can't figure out world peace, which we do know how to do it. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Sorry, I went off topic.
No, not at all. That's the highest quality stuff. Now, one thing that really surprised me of what you said is that you didn't know that you had anxiety issues. Like, Uriah, like, I've followed you for your entire career. I know lots of my friends have mental health issues, whether it's depression, whether it's anxiety. To me, it was really obvious. But even someone like you couldn't see it in yourself.
Yeah, I couldn't see it at all. I couldn't. I just thought something's wrong with me. I knew something was wrong with me, but I was like, maybe I'm just scared. Maybe I'm just scared of this. But I know I'm not scared of my opponent, because I'm not really afraid of someone. I mean, I hurt people for a living. I get paid for it. I think I was more afraid of losing, the disappointment, the going back to, people saying negative things and letting people down. That part was more of the fear than the actual person, because I'm ready to die when I go out there. But I was afraid of the outcome that I had no control over. And I slowly realized that. And I'm a late bloomer. I'm still fast. I'm still strong for some reason. I'm going with these young guys. Some kid the other day called me an old man. He was like, all right, let's go, old man. I was like, oh shit. I felt like Michael Jordan. It was like Michael Jordan. I was like, and then I took it personally, I pieced his ass up. I said, you know what? You do not deserve any one of my techniques today. You're going to get my jab. And I beat the shit out of him with my jab.
You're going to learn today, man. Do you ever feel like it's hard almost for yourself to not give a fuck in some ways? Yeah. Like, let me expand. Like, obviously you mentioned, there's fans out there that troll. You want to be liked, naturally everyone wants to be liked, but is that hard sometimes? Yeah. Not to give a fuck. I mean, even Dustin Poirier says it best. Not giving a fuck is a superpower, man. Like,
fuck yeah. I couldn't, because here's the thing. I know they can't do anything, like, physically. So it's a platform where they feel strong. Unfortunately, there's no repercussion. Like the other day I said something, and it was this minor thing, and Instagram was like, hey man, you can't say that. And I'm like, as opposed to this dude calling me the N-word, and that's okay. Like, what the fudge? But it's hard to not give a fuck. Even for people who say they don't give a fuck, you do give a fuck because you care. And it's as a human beings, we feel, but it's how you not give a fuck. You know, it's like you can give a fuck to a certain extent. I can give a fuck to go out there and beat your ass, but I cannot give a fuck to not let your negative affirmation affect me to do that. So it's how you not give a fuck. But everybody gives a fuck because we're human beings. We feel it. That's why some of us cry or some of us put on a persona. We feel, man. That's one of our superpowers, to feel. But it's how we embark on that because we're worried about how we're viewed. But I think once you release that, to say, I don't mind. And that's the thing why people gravitate to that. Like a Conor who says what he wants. People are like, oh my God, he's being himself. How do I do it? You know? Or Patty guy, who's a cool guy. I met him. He's all right. You know, people, I saw him, like I said, I saw him eating a pizza and they were like, well, you okay with eating a pizza or you like a 6-pack? Fuck, why would I fucking care? You know, and I'm like, and that's a story. It's a story. Like, people just make story over the dumbest shit. It's just, God. Yeah, I have a lot of accents, man.
Yeah, man, I was gonna say, that is not a bad British accent, man. Like, what other accents can you do?
Oh man, I can do Coming to America. I've got a little Asian in me ish. You buy
wait,
now.
let me wait. I don't want to get canceled. I'm gonna go off screen, and you two can do this, and then. If I laugh too hard, it's over. Okay.
So good story. When I started Ultimate Fighter, I actually did a Coming to America voice in the what do you call it? The audition room. You know, they were interviewing you, and a couple of folks know the story. I walked in and I was like, I had my Eddie Murphy grin, and like this, and I just walked in with a big ass grin, and all the executives are sitting down, and I was like, "Yes, hello, my name is Uriah." That was so awesome, man. It went on for a minute, and they believed me until I was like, "So yeah, man, I was just kidding." They're like, "Oh my God, that's not your fucking voice." But I want to get into voiceover sometimes, man. It's fun for me.
Well, man, so when you move from Jamaica, I assume like you can switch your accents in and out, no problem.
Yeah, I was practicing when I was because I one of my superpowers I can mimic easily. Like I watch something, and that's why I was doing all these cool kicks because I learned from a video game, Tekken.
Oh yeah.
I learned all those moves from Tekken, like Jin or Kazuya or Law. I was like, I couldn't afford martial arts. Didn't want to. My mom was bullied, so put in the VHS. If you remember that, and then I would just watch the moves, move the furniture, practice it. That was my training, but I can mimic easily. You know, I can act a certain way. Like, you know, I'm in Texas, and Texas is a little weird sometimes. It's just different. I think Texas is America. Another topic. Anyways, I'm parked in front of the gym, and there was a couple guys that looked like a suspect in front of the gym. So I got out my car like I'm a badass. Now I know I'm a badass, but I wanted to show I'm a badass in the nicest way possible. So when I got out my car, I just, got out casually. I kind of looked a little bit. My chin was up, and I just tucked the back of my shirt in as if I had something. I just tucked it in and just opened the door, grabbed my bag, and just walked out. And they pulled up. So I'm aware of my environment constantly, and that was just me being like, "Yo, this motherfucker might have something." I had nothing on me. Okay, I had nothing. I just had my bag with my gloves, but I had to act a certain way. So.
No, yeah, I know what you're saying. Of like Texas is like a mini America of like all the problems, all the best parts of America, and all the worst parts of America are just in this kind of one place, and you can see it all at the same time.
I have some great friends out here, but it's just, and it's a different mentality. Like I met a guy in the pool, and we were talking, and we were talking about homosexuals. Don't ask me how this conversation came up, but
I can cut this later if you want as well. That's not a big deal, man.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
But I said, people are allowed to be who they are. If you're homosexual, why is that a big deal? Like, why do people get pissed off because you're gay? Hey, you're gay. That's not normal. Like, well, what the fuck is normal? Like, are you serious? Mm-hmm. But his argument was, he doesn't believe in that. And I'm like, all right. But he said, what got me twisted? He said, if you were born that way, then you can switch it. And that's when I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, man, because, I have some gay friends, but they know I don't approve. And I'm like, wait, hold on. That's like saying I have black friends, but I don't like Negroes. What the fuck does that even mean? So I lost it. And, my girlfriend was there. And I'm like, bro, you an idiot. Did you hear what you said? Like you're basically telling someone they can't be who they are. Like, how can you? If you're gay and you want to wake up one day and suck dick, that's your thing, bro. Do your thing.
You
Like,
think?
why am I to hate you if you? So I hate that because I feel like I can relate to it from an immigrant where I was different and people didn't accept me. So I think that's why my defense side came out. And later on, I had this discussion, and she was like, "Listen, you got to understand that he was brought up a certain way, and it's like a certain way of thinking that's instilled upon you. It's like a muscle memory where you don't have to think when you tie your shoelace. You do it naturally, and to break out of that, sometimes you can't just raise your argument. You got to raise your intelligence. Sometimes, it's like, okay, if you see it this way, now understand from this way. Maybe it's my job to let him see it from a different perspective. Maybe I got to understand his side of where he's coming from because that's what he was told. That's how he was brought up in whatever era. So,
But I feel like, so I was raised in a more redneck area of the world, and I've lost friends to getting into arguments with people. I don't think I've ever regretted standing up for minorities, and I've never regretted losing those friends. Like, you won't regret saying the right thing. Stand up for what you believe.
Nope. Listen, one of my teammates, Macy, she's gay, and I love her to death. And someone attacked her. I was like, my man, I will find you, bro. And of course, my coach is like, you cannot say that. What are you doing? But it's natural for me to protect my friends. I'm like Goku, man. You hurt my friends and my family, I'll transform. But yeah.
Has that always been the case then, Uriah, even as a kid? Like even before you're fighting? Let's just go right to the beginning. Has it always been like that?
Well, coming from Jamaica, I didn't know what bullying was. I didn't know anything. America was like, wake up, bitch. And New York City of all places was like the concrete jungle. They didn't give me a manual. They should give you a manual when you come to New York and Texas and America. But, I didn't understand things, and New York was just so hard. And of course, the first thing was bullying because I felt like at the time, especially for kids, they look at you a certain way and you don't feel accepted. And I remember someone saying to me, you do realize that there's a life after this, right? There's getting a job, there's paying taxes, there's getting married, having kids. There's life after this. And when kids are in that world, they don't realize it. It's like, this is my world and I have to be a certain way. And it sucks. I think it sucks because there's no proper repercussion. Like if I have a kid and he's getting bullied, I'm gonna be like, yo, fuck this motherfucker up. You're gonna get suspended. We're going for ice cream. Boom. But at a young age, I knew, I felt it. I just didn't understand it. Like I didn't know how to fight, but I would get into fights. I had no idea how to fight. If someone said something to me, my natural, I would punch like this. I was like, what are you doing? It was like natural until someone was like, keep your elbows in and drive that shit down the middle. But it was built in me. I'm glad I have it because when I see someone getting hurt or picked on, I feel like a superhero in that way. I wish I could fly and shit. I feel that I gotta protect. So you can't protect everybody though. That's the problem with it sometimes because you're like, you feel like you want to protect everybody, but you can't.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, changing gears a little bit. I kind of want to go through something. It's actually something your mother said. She goes, I got you into martial arts because, he was quite shy and I wanted to get the confidence up. So that's great. I'm sure that at that stage it was great. But how did she feel when you went into fighting? Like you kind of transitioned into professional fighting. Was she okay with it? Was she worried?
She was okay. She was okay. She was nervous. She'd be covering her mouth like this. First time I got beat up in karate, and I was a white belt and this black belt. I mean, there's white, blue, yellow, green, red, brown, black. This is like my third week. This motherfucker beat the shit out of me. But he's not like my older brother, Will Hamilton, the guy that really took me under his wing. Not knowing how to fight, and it was my first kickboxing class, and it's a big gym. So he beat me, and I just kept backing up because I didn't know what to do. And he was beating me, pushing me all the way around the gym. And at the end, I got up and I was like, thank you, man. I appreciate that. And he was like, man, you one tough son of a bitch. And he was like, tell you what, come on Sundays, I'll teach you how to box. He's responsible for my jab, by the way, because he made me jab so much. But he took me under his wing, and, I found out at that young age I didn't know how to quit. I still don't know how to quit. It's in me to drive as hard as I can and to go forward as long as I can to get the best out of it. That's why in video games, I'm like, I just need one. And I love that side of me because it tells me there's always more to gain. It tells me there's always a push, and it keeps my mental edge at bay. Because I think, and Anderson Silva said this, the moment you start to be like, oh, I guess I am 37, then you feel it. Then you lose it. So I feel like Benjamin Button.
It's tough. It's a tough industry because the younger people make their names off of the older legends. It's a tough.
They can try.
That's the thing of like, I always think of you as one of the younger guys, and like you're not one of the. You know what I mean? You're not.
Oh my god! My last fight, everybody was like, "Wait, he's what?" No one knew how old I was. And I don't feel it. I don't feel it. I feel great. I feel fast. When I spar, man, I'd be tagging people. But I think it comes with the experience. I just want an opportunity. If I can say anything, I just want to go up against the champ so much because I know his style like the back of my fucking hand. I've been fighting that style my whole childhood, coming of age life. And style makes styles. And not taking anything away from him. I think he's an amazing champion. And that's why I won. That's the competitive edge in me to say, I can beat that guy. I want to go up against that guy. But it's like, if you say that, you can't say that. Going back to the kid thing, what? I'm not supposed to be confident? No, you can't beat him. You're not ready. I mean, look at what you've done. You're not qualified. What? Is that your choice to make? That's like you saying, stop your dream. You suck. Accept that you're not good because what you've done is not good enough. And if you don't be careful, you start listening to these dumb motherfuckers. And they get into your head. Luckily, that shit does not work. I'm always encouraging people to come to the gym. I'm like, hey, man, the dress is right here, bro. If you want to lose your life, I'm cool with it.
Do you have any offers?
Oh, so now you're threatening a YouTuber? I'm like, oh, hell yeah. You know how they reverse it? You don't want to fight in the octagon, but you want to fight me? I'm like, oh, I lost my brain cells. Yeah.
We'll map it out for you. So he's a distance kickboxer. He's an experienced distance kickboxer. He's honestly really good range management. What's the path to victory against an Israel Adesanya?
I can match it. I can match it. It's elusiveness. He's dynamic, and his dynamicness with his craftiness. The thing with that style is it builds confidence every time you win. He's confident. He's confident. Like getting hit with a good jab, you're like, what the fuck? Like the guy who knocked him out, right?
Alexander Pereira.
That dude looks like he belongs in jail. That motherfucker looks crazy as hell. But I would love to fight his ass just to be like, yeah, this motherfucker. I would love to fight him. Politics. But his style is so good. But if you're not careful, he'll chop you down. Like when he fought Marvin, I've sparred with Marvin. Marvin hits hard. Marvin comes forward. And as a distance fighter, you have range on your side. I'm going to piece you up all day. It's a point system. So I know the ins and out of it. And again, I'm not taking anything away, but I'm supposed to be fucking confident to say, yeah, I could do that. I'm not supposed to be confident. Like, come on. It's like the ranking system, right? Like, you know who's in charge of the ranking system?
Yeah, no. It's like 8 random journalists and some of them barely write MMA.
Wait, are you serious? I didn't even know this.
Yeah.
I didn't even know this. I didn't know this.
You can look them up online. Some of those guys don't even work in MMA anymore. It's just like 8 random dudes that were found out. Like none of us who actually work in the MMA media are voting on this.
Okay. And guess what? 8 random mofos come out there and be like, yeah, we here feel you're number 7. I'm supposed to take your advice on this? Everyone in the UFC should feel like they're fucking number 1. Who the fuck are you to tell me I'm number 7?
I love
that.
It's
a joke. It's such a fucking joke, dude. Like, who are you to tell me I'm number 7? You see me, you see my trials, tribulation, what I've had to go through to get here. Get the fuck out of here, my guy. And that's the problem, man. They're putting all these commissioners that don't know shit. These judges who just box.
Yeah,
and
I know.
Yeah, he won. But did you see he was beating him up? Yeah, but he took him down and held him for a couple seconds. So to me, that's control. All right. Yeah, it sucks, man. You got to play the game. It sucks.
What's the main thing that you think needs changing in the judging system? Because this 10-9, 10-8 boxing judging thing is a bit weird, isn't it?
Listen, I don't know the full specifics, but what I do know is proper fucking training. Let's take the cops, for example. Why am I paying taxes to these motherfuckers who beat my ass? It's like me saying, hey, you ready to beat me today? Here's $50. Protect and serve. Protect and serve. It makes no sense, man. Like, let's train these motherfuckers correctly. Or here's a good one. This system was designed that way.
Yeah.
So it's just proper training, with the commissioner stuff. It's proper training, and no one's doing it. We got these dumbass laws, and like I'm realizing certain laws. I can't think of it, but I heard a dumb law the other day that you can't do certain things. Like if someone breaks into your house with a gun and they shoot at you, apparently if they run, you can't shoot them.
That's insane. Yeah, I've seen Kong Lee post that a few times. Yeah, you got to
Hey,
protect yourself.
hey, just turn around for a sec. Just turn around for a second.
Yeah.
Who's writing
was
this?
like, he was like, "Oh man, like you should always, you need to be your own kind of police in some ways.
Dude,
Yeah,
you
they're
do.
not gonna come for you, man.
They probably come to my house and I see it like, hey man, this guy broke him. Grab him, he still have the gun. What? That's how I see them doing it. That's how I see them doing it, bro. And listen, I have I don't want to touch this topic too much, but I have great friends that are police officers. My older brother's a police officer, but it's scary. And I tried to explain this the other day to my white friend. I'm like, my man, you don't understand when we get pulled over, you're more worried about a ticket. I'm worried about my life. And he's like, why? I'm like, what the fuck? Where have you been? What do you mean, why? You're confident, bro. Yeah, you feel like you can get away with this shit and you can say whatever the fuck you want. I gotta be like, yes, sir, master, sir. My hands are still on 11 and 12. I gotta say that shit. And it sucks. And a lot of people don't understand that because, of course, racism, all that still is going on. And listen, I've had my moments. I've talked my way out of stuff, and I was the angry black guy. Like, what the fuck did you pull me over? I've done that. But either way, I'm still scared. And it sucks to feel that way, man. So it's proper training. And it's the same feeling like with the fights. You got to go to the judges, and these people are controlling your destiny. And you're like, what? It sucks, man. But I think it's just proper training.
Well, it's like you said, Uriah Hall. I'm going to quote Uriah Hall here, over 7,000 language. I only speak facts.
It's only, yep. But apparently being real over these days is overrated. Like, he's too honest. We don't want to hear about starving kids and all that shit. Okay, let's talk about you talking shit to old people. How do you do it?
Man, that's the thing with MMA media. And I've talked to other fighters about it where like mid-interview, I'm like, man, I forget who I was interviewing, but I was like, man, I have to ask you about like Badr Hari now. And like, I know no one, like, you don't want to talk about it, but like, this is it. And Uriah, I'm about to do it to you. Hey, fuck Darren.
He's not the kickboxing guy? Oh,
yeah.
Darren.
Oh, man, I love that.
Like,
I don't care. I never back down from, I don't care. Oh, buddy. Him and Khamzat is like good friends now, right? I've trained with Khamzat before in Sweden. Great guy. I mean, he took us on a journey run where I'm like, bro, man, where are you taking us? The mountains? Like, he's pretty good, He gets a hold of you. It's a problem. But I had my moments. But he's very good. And I had nothing bad to say about him. He's young, he's hungry, he's supposed to be that way. That's fine. But yeah, I know they're best friends. I know Khamzat probably is there like, my brother, fight this guy. This guy should be your comeback fight. And I'm like, yes, please fight me so I can beat your ass. I actually called him out a long time ago. I said, bro, I will come to your country, adjust to your time zone, and beat your ass. But politics,
is what it is. But who do you want next in the UFC? We always have to ask that one. Who do you want next?
Darren Till.
It is Darren Till.
That would be awesome, man.
And that guy, what's the guy I said? The guy that like he's in jail.
Pereira.
Alex Pereira. Yeah. I'll take those two. Or either one.
Let's light him up, man. I'll call. I don't know who's in charge. Joe Silva? Is he still around?
No. Joe is evil, bro. Joe would threaten motherfuckers to fight. Joe made me take fights I didn't want to take, man. I'm like, Joe, this makes no sense, bro. You got to do it. You got to fucking do it. You got a whip so you can crack too, motherfucker? Like, damn.
Yeah.
Like,
every fighter, publicly and privately, has said the same thing of like, Joe Silva was one of the worst things to happen in the UFC.
Worse, bro. Worse, man. There's shit I can't even say.
Yeah. No, I actually wanted to touch on that, because Brendan Schaub, he came out publicly saying, Joe Silva got this job through Sherdog back in the day, Like, he was very active on the Sherdog community. They hired him. He got really chummy. And he's basically literally like a 5'2" troll who has a lot of power over people. And he used that, kind of just to be like, look, man, you just fucking take this fight. Otherwise, you're done. Was he like that generally?
Okay, it was. If you don't take this fight, you're not going to fight for another year. All right. All right. No problem. Yep. I guess I got to do it. It was an era. My mother taught me something. She said, listen, you can learn from anything. Even when I lost to Sean Strickland, okay? First of all, I didn't want to do that fight. Fine, UFC throw it on my throat. I'll take it because, they don't like when you say no. I took it. Now, I know Sean. We went back. I used to train with him. He hates when I spin. But, taking that fight, I was like, where was I going with this? I had something really good.
I think being forced to accept this fight.
Yeah. So I just didn't have the right mindset to get into it, because it's like, I don't want this. This guy behind me doesn't make sense. I don't want to take this. But you can't argue unless you have certain leverage, like a Conor or a Dustin, or a Conor who he loses a bunch of fights and he's fighting for the belt. Like, what? But it's understandable. He's got the leverage to do it. So it sucks, man. It fucking sucks.
Man, and I feel like you're kind of like, you go online to Instagram and Twitter and fans are like, man, fuck you. And then you talk to your boss and he's like, man, fuck you. And then you talk to MMA media and they're like, yeah, fuck you too.
Fuck you too. And you got to have a strong mind for that. But my mother taught me, going back to Sean Strickland, that's what I remember.
Yeah.
She taught me that you can learn from anything. And I remember being in a hospital bed because, by round, I remember the first couple of punches did something to my eye. And then I think by round 2, my orbital was gone. I remember seeing black and I was like, I panicked. So now I'm panicking. I'm like, oh my fucking God, I cannot see this guy, which you kind of need your eyes to fight. So I'm fighting him and I'm fighting myself to not lose myself because I'm like, I can't panic. If I show it, it'll take over and I can't see him. So I just remember keeping my head down and I just remember getting jabbed because I'm like, if I do this, I can see his feet and I can see how far he is, but he was so awkwardly long. Yeah. And there was a couple rounds where I even looked at my coach and I'm like, I can't see him. And he just gave me that look like, bite down. I know it sucks. Fucking bite down. And went out there again and still didn't go my way. Got headbutted, kicked in the groin. And when those happens, you still have to stay calm. Even though I lost the fight, I felt like I won the battle with myself because I didn't quit. I didn't give up. And there were moments where I was like, I can't do anything. Because my eyes are fucking gone, but you can't even make excuses, And being in a hospital bed, I remember crying. And I was like, this makes no fucking sense. I was so ready. To get this guy. Train. I felt my best. That one little merge of error. It's like figure skating, right there. One little error. And it was taken away from me. And right then and there, I just remember what my mom always said. Listen, you can learn from the most horrific situation. You just have to pay attention. I was angry. I was angry at myself. I was angry at God. I was like, what the fuck can I learn from an ass whooping I took on my birthday? Like, what can I learn from this? And it was more of just the battle that I won with myself to walk through fire because I've never been through fire. I've always like, ooh, too hot, But I literally walked through fire. Didn't go my way, but I won that fight with myself. And I think what that generated for me to still walk through other claims of fire to get to where I need to be. Because it's a personal battle for a lot of people. And everybody's fighting, We're all fighting our own battles. Like both of you guys are fighting your own battle, whatever that may be. We're all fighting, and every day is a fight. Waking up is a fight. Doing what we love to do is a fight. Staying committed is a fight. Staying disciplined is a fight. It's always a fight, and it's how we pick and choose those battles. And my fight was with myself to say, oh, I can walk through this fire and be okay. And I did.
Amazing.
So, I mean, would you say, you obviously were frustrated with that loss. Would you say it wasn't the loss yet, it was more the fact that you were on a really big momentum, you had quite a big winning streak and that got taken away. Was it more that than the fight itself?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I felt like a win over that would propel me to fight Izzy. I was like, I don't care about the belt. I want to fight him. He's my belt. It's like Anderson, Anderson was my first dream. So far, I lived out 2. I went up against my idol and I went to WrestleMania. So I got 2 so far. But I was more upset that I lost that momentum because it's like you just get pushed back so far. And now it's like you got to climb again and climb. And they'll send you people like you don't even want to fight. That don't make sense. And it's almost like, well, do you still want to be here? It's the business side of it. I get it. Doesn't mean I have to like it, but I get it. It's their platform to do what they feel, and whether it's fair or not, my job is to show up. I've always shown up. I can't tell you how many times I fought with injuries that I'm not supposed to fight. When I broke my toe, I had a messed up ankle. My ankle on my left leg was messed up, and I'm limping around, faking it so I can pass the medicals. Somehow I passed, and then I taped my leg up, and then I broke my right toe. And God was like, all right, bitch, dance. You know, and it was that mental thing. I had to switch gears right away. You know, I couldn't back out because I'm like, I'm here. I got 3 more limbs left. I'm good. And that's my mentality. It's like, oh, this doesn't work. All right, I got 2 more. Oh, both my hands are gone. I got my legs. I have to think like that. So
yeah, that's pretty inspiring. You're right, because there's a lot of fighters that just be like, yeah, I'm gonna pull out, man. I got a sore toe and all this shit, man.
Listen. I got hurt. I mean, I didn't want to talk about it, but I got hurt this training camp, and I try to make it as, you know, I tried to just work through it, but it was agitating, and I know for my opponent, who's a grueling guy at this, which I'm comfortable with. I just knew I needed everything that I possibly needed, and it was standing in the way. And it hurt me to do it because I was like, fuck it, I'll tape it up and I'll do it. Fuck it. But, you know, that could add more. So I have to be smart. And people don't like when you're smart, apparently. It's like when I overcut weight to fight Vitor. Like, I was 186.5. And, you know, I think you have to give up 20% of your purse. And I was just like, fuck that. I ain't giving this motherfucker nothing. And I went back in because that's my mentality. There are no sick days. It's not like my toe was hurting. I'm like, there's no sick days. And apparently my body was so depleted that my kidney was shutting down. And I made the weight. I was 185.4 or something. I made it. I just didn't make it to the scale. I remember getting up and I'm holding on to my buddy and I'm like, just make it to the scale, make it to the scale, make it to the scale. And at some point in the elevator, I went like this and it was like flashes. I woke up, I see people. I woke up, I start swinging. I woke up, I was on a stretcher. I woke up, I was in a hospital van. I woke up, I was in a hospital and screaming for water. I was like, give me water, give me water. And they're like, we can't give you water. Something about injecting. And I'm like, I just want water, I just want water. And it was crazy, man. And it sucked at the time. But I wasn't thinking about my health. I wasn't thinking about any of that. I was just like, I got to perform. I got to fight. I got to get paid.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's the other part that I'm talking about that the fans don't see. I remember getting backlash. Like, you suck. How'd you pull out? I'm like, I almost died for this sport.
Yeah, man. Fans are assholes, man.
They're
Generally,
brutal.
they're such pricks,
They're
man.
brutal.
They get like you have
now.
1-2 good fights, yeah, and they're like, yeah, man, this guy's the man, and then he loses
Yeah.
one fight, and like, you fucking suck.
Well, that's what happened, right? I
can't believe I
versus
supported
leg.
you.
I knocked out Anderson. I fought 2 other fights, and I lost to Sean. Oh, he sucks. What? Yeah, Uriah has a mental issue, and I believed that for a while. Like, I have a mental problem with fighting. I believed that for a while, but it turns out I just had anxiety.
Yeah. You learned that about yourself, though, Uriah, man. That's the main thing. I want to change gears. I need to ask this question, yeah? Why does John Morgan always get the first question? And have you found that out?
What the fuck? I'm like, I need to start something. I think Colby's starting it too. Like, yeah, bro, I ain't answering your question. I don't know how this motherfucker gets the first question. I'm like, did you sign something with Dana? Did y'all motherfucker make like a secret pact? Did you win in the room? Like, I'm gonna give you guys $100 if you let me go first. Like, I don't know how he does that shit. It's one of the greatest mysteries in MMA, and it needs to be solved. And the next time I see him, I'm like, yo, man.
Have you ever seen Training Day? I know this is a bit random. Have you ever seen that?
Trained?
No, have you ever seen Training Day?
Training Day. That's with Denzel, right?
Yeah.
When
he says, "I got cases on all you people," I'm like, yo, you're the fucking Alfonso Harris, man, of MMA journalism, man. I'm telling you, like, he just putting cases.
You think you can do this to me?
Yeah.
Cases on all you motherfuckers.
Someone else goes first and goes, "Who the fuck is this?
Like, who the fuck, and how the fuck?"
You're right. Another. Oh, okay.
How in the world you always get the first question?
I mean,
did y'all sign something with them?
I've got stuff on all of them, every last one of them. They know I'll go to the police with it too.
You think you can do this to me? You motherfuckers will be playing basketball in Pelican Bay when I get finished with you.
Is he getting all these questions, man? Good for him.
Good
I
for
just
him.
want to know. I just want to know. I just want to know. I could die happy. Well, I don't know about that, but I just want to know.
Man, it's unreal. Once we get into those like talking moments and we're actually talking to people, time goes fast. We're hitting on almost an hour here. I know, man.
It's fine.
So we
my recovery day.
Yeah, recovery day. Yeah, we watched WrestleMania. It was a good time. But I also need to ask, like, I got a list of questions we got to hit on. Do you still have the mug that Mousasi gave you?
Oh my fucking God. I was just
No.
drinking tea. I was just drinking
No
tea.
way! Yes, we were literally
I was just drinking tea
That is
from it. And I
hilarious,
was
man.
like, I grabbed it and I was like, you know what? I feel like a Mousasi drink will get me up. I was just
we were
drinking
literally
tea from
playing
it.
it. I'm like, that's so cute, man.
Yeah, I can't believe he brought me that mug. He's like, hey, brother, welcome to my. I'm like, motherfucker, what am I supposed to do with this? Okay. Yeah, he's cool. I love that guy. He's cool.
What a cool guy. And is he just walking around with like 25 of those, or did he make it for
No.
you?
No. So when we were in Amsterdam, we met up, and it was a gift. It was a funny gift, though. It was cool, man. It was cool. It kind of, all my friends, everybody was like, bro, that is so cool. I didn't get how cool it was, but apparently to them it was cool. Mousasi gave me a cup.
Man, it is super cool.
I gotta
Man,
make him a cup, though. I think I should make him a cup.
Dude, he's such a nice guy too. Like meeting him in person and stuff. Like he's a sweetheart, and like it's weird that like there's some weird guys, and it's a big surprise. Guys like you, Kelvin, Gegard Mousasi. How are you guys professional fighters? Like you guys' personality don't match the mold at all, right?
Oh my God, you should see me when I talk to random people. If I'm on the plane, and I conversate easily, and at some point somebody will come up and I take a couple pictures, and they'll be like, well, "Who the fuck are you? What do you do?" And I was like, "I saved a couple babies. It was a burning building. It happened so fast." And but at some point they'll be like, "Wow, that's what you do?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's like, man, this one guy. Oh my God, I don't think he knew what he did. I know he meant good by it. He was like, "That's crazy. You speak so well," and I'm like, all right. Okay, I speak well for a fighter, I guess. I guess we all speak well. But I get it though, I've seen some fighters like, yeah, man, I fight any one of these motherfuckers, man. Ain't nothing but I'm ready to I get it. I totally get it. When it's time to be gangsta and not gangster, I can do it, So
You're saying it without saying it, but let me tell you that you can make fun of Nate Diaz because an hour of a Nate Diaz fans listening to anything, they're not going to make it that far into anything. So you can make fun of Nate Diaz, you can make fun of his fans. They've stopped listening at this point.
I like that. He's cool, man. I met Nate a bunch of times, and almost every time he squares up, I'm like, Nate, it's me. Relax.
He's on brand always, right?
Yeah, he's like, what's up, man? I'm like, hey, man, what's up, bro? But Nick, man, God bless his soul. I don't know where he is. I hope Nick is okay, man. I mean, it was hard to watch that fucking fight, but
yeah, man, that was rough. What was
Nick
that
is
about?
always cool to me.
There was a lot of things about. I think Josh. I can't remember. Someone said I saw some sparring footage, man. It looked rough, man. Like,
I don't think he's there. I've heard some stuff that I probably can't say on air, but I just know he's not there. He's and it's sad because literally I saw. Right before that fight, I saw a bunch of old clips how he was, and I was like, "Damn, this dude's a badass." But
yeah,
sometimes you hang around either the wrong people and it's easy influence. But I get it. It all connects, man. It's not just him doing there. It's opportunities that aren't met. If you get everybody an opportunity, then they can excel. But it's like, well, it's the toughest game in the world. Can you do it? And what does it take? Which is also good too, because in this sport. It's a tough sport, man. It's like if you don't make it, it's worse than football if you don't make it. Because, football, they get paid. But it's like, damn, you don't get paid and you get fucked up. And people get to make fun of you that you suck. You can't come back.
Man, failing definitely sucks, but even success, like handling success and knowing what to do with that money. We've seen so many people who make it big and then they're broke in like a couple of years. Like T-Pain, it talked about it. He's like, man, I was spending, I forget what he said. He said like $40 million in a year or something like that.
Oh my God. What?
But
that's
I knew some guys who used to play in the NFL and I met them when I was working in Canada and they were like, yeah, no, that money's gone, man. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah, it happens. Cause I I did it too. And, at a young age, I didn't understand taxes, and it caught up to me. And I remember fucking California. You Californians. Fucking California, who I lived there for a year, was trying to get in my bank account for like a certain amount of money. I'm like, wait, what? And luckily my bank was like, hey man, California's trying to take this much, but we gave them $100. Okay. And I just had to keep moving my money and finally settled. But I didn't understand taxes. I didn't understand credit. And that's one of the biggest things, man. Credit. Credit is so huge here. I don't know what you guys do, but credit is like the thing out here. If you have credit, you are a god. And I didn't understand all of that. And I was kind of in debt in a certain way because I had to pay back taxes back when I first started. And I was like, oh, I didn't pay any of that. And I was in New York. And I shouldn't say that. They fuck you up with taxes. New York is like that early morning fuck that just fuck you in the ass with no lube.
It just doubles down on it.
Like, here you go. Good morning.
What's a good place to help in New York, Uriah? I'm going in July, in fact. So I'm curious, man.
My best buddy lives out there. You just hit me up later, and I'll connect you guys. He wrote a beautiful documentary called "The Most Beautiful Thing." You should check it out. It's on Amazon. I don't know if you guys are Amazon over there.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, Amazon.
We don't have an Amazon. We don't have internet.
I don't know because things are different. I know you guys drive on the left, and everybody was like, "You drive on the right." I'm like, "You drive on the left." So I totally get it. Which, by the way, everything was going so fast. I remember my friend was driving, and I was like, "Yo, slow down, man, slow down." She's like, "What are you talking about? What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "We're gonna die. We're gonna die." But yeah. It's called The Most Beautiful Thing. If you ever get a chance, check it out.
100%, man. Definitely.
Man, let's hook it up. All right, so from us here at Cafe Sports, my name's Tim Wheaton, Tim Wheaton MMA, ashmma.cks. I'll have links down below. For everything going on in Uriah's life, I will have links down below. But you get the last word here. So tell the people where they can find more of you. When can we expect to see you next? What advice do you have? Send us out of here, man.
If there's anything I can say to the people of the world that are listening, to the MMA community, to the dumb people, to the people who feel that they can't do anything, it's okay. I know you're doing your best. I know you're trying your hardest, and I know not everyone gets to understand you, and I know you want to be heard. And I know you probably think this message is kind of weird, and I'm silly for doing it, but it's okay. I don't hate you. No one really hates you. And if I can give you advice, be yourself. If you're an asshole, then be an asshole. If you're a piece of shit, be a piece of shit. If you're a good human being, be a good human being. But at least own it. Own it so at the last day you are on this planet, you can be like, you know what? I did it my way.
Uriah, thank you so much for your time, man.
No problem, man. I had fun. Thank you.